If you're following a vegan and a gluten-free diet, you know that the options for bread and dinner rolls and hamburger buns and hot dog buns are kind of limited. If you are just gluten-free, I think you have more options, but combining both the vegan and the gluten-free diet makes those options limited. And unfortunately, among those options, many of them have a lot of preservatives and high glycemic, low nutritional, low protein, and low fiber contents in the products. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make recipes for red lentil and quinoa bread, and also a similar recipe for dinner rolls. But the dinner rolls can also be formed into hamburger buns or hot dog buns. And all of these recipes are certainly higher in fiber and protein and just general nutritional content than, let's say, a white flour or a white rice based bread or dinner roll. I'm in my car because I'm off to the pet store because one of my cats has mouth cancer, and he's eating quite a bit, but he's very particular now about what he wants. I have two beautiful cats. They're named T-Bar and Caesar, and they're polydactyls, meaning they have 6 and 7 toes in the front. But unfortunately, T-Bar now has this very aggressive form of mouth cancer called sarcoma, and he's had 2 rounds of a type of electrochemotherapy, but the cancer is just not curable. It keeps coming back. Anyway, I'm going to show you a picture of my sweet kitties at the end of this video, but I'm off to the pet store. I'm going to get some cat food, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to make the dough for both the bread and the dinner rolls, and I'm going to show you how they're made, and I'll go over a bit of some nutritional information about these. I'm back from the pet store, so let's get on with making these dinner rolls. If you make 8 of these dinner rolls, according to the recipe, you're going to have about 12 grams of fiber per roll and 15 grams of protein. Compare that to the 1 to 3 grams of fiber and 1 to 2 grams of protein that you get in many traditional gluten-free and vegan baked goods. Place 1.5 cups of split red lentils into a bowl. Add 1/2 cup of quinoa to the red lentils. Then add water to the quinoa and lentils, and you want enough water to cover about 1 inch above the lentils and quinoa. I actually had to transfer them to a larger bowl. Cover these with plastic wrap and place in the refrigerator and allow to soak for at least 8 hours or overnight. And then you want to strain them and rinse them and then place them in a blender. Then you're going to add 1 1/4 cup of non-dairy milk. I used cashew milk. I added 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then I blended everything until I had a very smooth batter. I had to stop the blender periodically and scrape down the sides and stir the contents so that everything would blend evenly. I then poured the batter into a medium-sized bowl. Then I added 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 3 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder, and 1/4 teaspoon salt. Then I mixed everything together, and then I allowed the batter to rest for 15 minutes. I lined a baking tray with parchment paper, and then I took the dough and formed it into various shapes. I made 2 hamburger buns, a sub-roll bun, and the others were just rolls. I baked them in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes until golden brown. I put them on a cooling rack for a few minutes, but I was very eager to see how they tasted with both sweet and savory additives. I was really pleased with the texture. The inside was quite soft and the exterior was a bit firm and slightly crispy. There's a subtle red lentil taste, but this didn't interfere with me enjoying it with some butter and jam. Then I decided to test the hamburger bun with some savory additions. I sliced one of the buns in half. Again, it was nice and soft inside with a firm exterior. I added some vegan avocado mayo, some lettuce, a nice big tomato slice, and then a crispy cauliflower burger patty. I'll be using these buns for my hamburgers in the future. Let's move on to the red lentil and quinoa bread. For this recipe, you also need 1.5 cups of red lentils and 1/2 cup of quinoa. You'll also need to soak them for about 8 hours in the fridge. Then you want to drain them and rinse them and place them in a high-speed blender. Then I added 1 1/4 cups of water. Then 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder. 3 tablespoons of a thick, plain, non-dairy yogurt. And 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Then I added 2 packets of instant dry yeast. That's about 1.5 tablespoons worth. Then I blended everything together until smooth, and occasionally I had to stop the blender to scrape down the sides and stir the contents so that everything would blend smoothly. I then lined a 9 by 5 inch bread pan with parchment paper, and I lightly oiled that. You don't want to miss this because otherwise the bread will stick to the sides of the pan. I then poured the batter into the pan and smoothed the top, and I allowed it to rest for 30 minutes. The bread did rise quite a bit during this time. I placed it on a baking tray and then baked in the oven at 350 degrees for 50 minutes. When the bread was finished baking, I took it out of the oven and I immediately removed it from the baking pan and placed it on a cooling rack. I also removed the parchment paper since I didn't want the moisture to affect the bread. Given the presence of the yeast, this bread is slightly softer and a bit more airy on the inside in comparison with the rolls, but it definitely serves as a nice bread for sandwiches. And as a break while making this video, I just toasted a slice and had it with some butter and jam, and it was delicious. Let me know in the comments if you make these recipes, and let me know how you like them or if you have any special way you use them. So now I'll introduce you to my cats. This is Caesar. He has 7 toes on his one front paw. And this is T-Bar. He's such a sweet boy. And they love each other very much. Thanks so much for watching, and check out these next videos.